Wolf, this is critical insight into Donald Trump. What we're learning speaks to his continued desire to delay and to try to prevent the election results from being counted. Now, we previously knew that there was a phone call that took place on January 6th between Trump and Kevin McCarthy, when McCarthy called Trump, pleading for him to stop the rioters. I've spoken to multiple Republican members of the House who have knowledge of that call, who tell us that after Trump tried to say to Kevin, "These are not my people, it's Antifa," Kevin McCarthy said to Trump, "No, it's not Antifa. These are your people." And here are the new details. After he said that, Trump said to McCarthy, quote, "Well, Kevin, I guess these people are more upset about the election than you are." To which McCarthy responded, "Who the F do you think you're talking to?" CNN confirmed this exchange, Wolf, with Republican Congresswoman Jaime Herrera Beutler of Washington, who was briefed on the call directly, firsthand, by Kevin McCarthy on January 10th. The Congresswoman told us she took careful notes on the call, as she has been doing since the insurrection happened and throughout the impeachment proceedings. She's been keeping really copious notes. We're also told by several other Republican members that Kevin McCarthy wasn't shy about this heated exchange with Trump, that he wanted his members to know about it. And Congresswoman Herrera Beutler says Trump's comments to Kevin McCarthy speak to his state of mind that day and explain why she voted to impeach. This is what she told us, quote, "You have to look at what he did, Trump did, during the insurrection to confirm where his mind was at. That line right there demonstrates to me that either he didn't care, which is impeachable, because you cannot allow an attack on your soil, or he wanted it to happen and was okay with it, which makes me so angry. We should never stand for that for any reason under any party flag. I'm trying really hard not to say the F word." Wolf?
This is really powerful information, Jaime, that you're getting. You've also learned a number of other Republican members of Congress also feel that Trump's words give critical insight to his state of mind, his intent, and what they describe as his dereliction of duty.
That's correct. We spoke to a half dozen Republican members of the House today. And here's what another member of Congress said to me, another Republican, Anthony Gonzalez, on the record, Republican from Ohio. He is also another one of the 10 Republicans who voted to impeach. Quote, "I think it speaks to the former president's mindset. He was not sorry to see his unyieldingly loyal vice president or the Congress under attack by the mob he inspired. In fact, it seems he was happy about it, or at the least enjoyed the scenes that were horrifying to most Americans across the country." And Wolf, I just want to add, the Republican members that I spoke to said that Trump's failure to act immediately after Kevin McCarthy called him and asked for help shows that he was not some blameless, innocent observer. Another Republican member said to me that the call speaks clearly to Trump's intent. Quote, "This proves that the president knew very early on what the mob was doing, and he knew members were at risk, and he refused to act. It's a violation of his oath of office to fail to come to the defense of Congress and the constitutional process immediately. This shows that Trump knew what the rioters were doing, that he supported it, and that he facilitated it by failing to act." I think the question now is, Wolf, we now know more about what Donald Trump clearly said to Kevin McCarthy. Will it change any votes of Republicans in the Senate when it comes to the trial? Wolf?
It's really, really significant reporting, Jamie. Thank you very, very much. I want to get John King's reaction. This is a powerful new development that we're getting, and it's not from Democratic sources or independent sources. Jamie and her colleagues are speaking to Republicans who heard all of this directly from Kevin McCarthy.
It is powerful, and it's important, and it's critical context, and it's also proof that until proven otherwise, this is the party of Trump. She's speaking about Kevin McCarthy, the Republican leader, who stood up to the president on that phone call. What did he do hours later? He stood on the floor of the House of Representatives and supported the objections to the election even after the insurrection, even after he begged the president for help and didn't get it, even after he challenged the president's view of who was in the mob. So you have these 10 Republicans who voted to impeach. They also did not support the challenges to the elections. But Kevin McCarthy, even after that phone call with the president of the United States saying your vice president was under attack, these are your people in our building, please help us, please call this off. The president doesn't do what he wants. That night, Kevin McCarthy stood with 138, I believe, other House Republicans to continue the big lie, to fight the election. Then they voted against impeachment. Only 10. 200 Republicans voted against impeachment in the House. Only 10 had the courage to stand up. Tomorrow we get the Senate side of it. All right, tomorrow, most likely, we get the Senate side of it when they vote to convict or not to convict later. We know there are 5 or 6 Republicans maybe available to vote for it. Did the trial convince any other Republicans to come forward? That's the test tomorrow. But if you watch the president's defense today, the president got the defense that he wanted. It was full of lies. It was full of anger. It was taking things out of context. It was attacking Democrats, and it was not answering any specific questions. A Republican senator asked, exactly when did the president, then President Trump, find out the Capitol was breached? And he attacked the question. He said he called the facts in dispute. Marco Rubio, one of the senators we're watching, might he change his mind, a Trump critic back in 2016, but on the ballot in 2022, asked a question that said, if we do this to Donald Trump, might a Republican House in the future do this to Hillary Clinton? Guess how Marco Rubio is going to vote tomorrow. I mean, this is as plain as can see. So Jamie puts this compelling reporting on the table from Republicans who are willing to stand up to Donald Trump. Tomorrow's vote is, who are you? Is this power or principle? Is this your career? Is this your country? Or put it this way, are you still the party of Trump, or are you willing to vote to break from Trump? That's what's at stake tomorrow.
And Kevin McCarthy, a few days later, went down to Mar-a-Lago and met with with Donald Trump at that time, too. And,
right. So there's not a profiling courage.
Yeah, that was a little awkward. Jake, back to you.
Thanks, Wolf. And for people who are just joining us, let's go over again this incredibly significant exchange that Jamie Gangel just reported based on the on-the-record testimony, the on-the-record comments from a congresswoman, a Republican congresswoman from Washington State. During the insurrection, House Minority Leader, House Republican Leader Kevin McCarthy calls Trump, pleading with him to call off the mob. Trump says, this is according to Jamie's reporting, according to multiple Republicans, including one on the record, Kevin, it's not my people, it's Antifa. McCarthy says, no, it's not Antifa, these are your people, to which the president says, well, Kevin, I guess these people are more upset about the election than you are. To which House Republican Leader McCarthy says, who the F do you think you are talking to? Which is a stunningly cold statement from President Trump, then President Trump. He knows that they're his supporters. He likes the fact that they're attacking. It means that they care more about the election than Kevin McCarthy. And yes, as John pointed out, hours later, Kevin McCarthy votes with the lie, with what President Trump wants him to do, showing his character or lack thereof. But let's just focus right now for a second on Trump saying that. Well, I guess they care more about the election than you do. As terrorists attack the Capitol and kill people.
I mean, that's all you need to hear about Donald Trump's state of mind at that moment. As part of the House managers' presentation yesterday, a couple days ago, they showed Kevin McCarthy calling into one of the cables, begging people to go home and to go away. And you could hear in his voice how upset he was and how worried about it. I'm wondering whether or not he decided to do that because the president wouldn't, whether he was trying to take control. Never mind the fact that he voted with the president that day and then also voted against impeachment later. This trial isn't over. You know, I don't think there's a rule that says that someone like Jamie Herrera Butler or Kevin McCarthy can't be called as a witness. Why not?
Yeah, and we should underscore who Jamie Herrera Butler is. She's a Republican.
Yes.
And our Jamie Gangel and our colleagues talked to multiple Republicans who were so incensed and disgusted by what they were told by Kevin McCarthy about Trump's comments in that moment that they voted to impeach. And the point that Congresswoman Herrera Butler made is one that we've discussed before, which is that even if you take out for a second the incitement, even if you take out the rally that happened beforehand, it was Trump's indifference and negligence when the Capitol was attacked that prompted her to think that's an impeachable offense. Mm-hmm. You are the president of the United States. You're supposed to defend this country, not to root on the attackers, even if they're people who are coming from the inside, not from the outside.